new hot and techy Brezza, the citybred SUV.
Well, the stakes continue to be high, especially for the Super Kings as the IPL returns to the Chepauk after a 2-week break. In those 2 weeks, they've picked up crucial points at the Super Kings against their arch rivals, the Mumbai Indians, but they've dropped points against a team that's kind of building up as an ex-rival and in the Lucknow Super Giants, who brushed away Ruturaj Gaikwad's side at home, and they'd be hoping for a change of fortunes as they're back at their fortress in Chennai. It's not a change of fortunes at the toss, which proved to be quite significant in the outcome of the game in Lucknow, and KL Rahul's won it again. The Super Kings will bat first again, so plenty to build up to on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Tom Moody, Mitchell McClenaghan, Wasim Jaffer. Something about this game, especially at the back of the last one, and with the points table getting closer and closer for these teams, that tells you that the result for these two games together, Tom, could very well be a deciding factor in who makes a playoff spot.
Very important, because they're both sort of at the moment shooting for third or fourth spot, and you can only squeeze so many in that top four.
Point established there.
So it is an important, a very important game, particularly for Chennai, given that you'd expect them to have a huge advantage at home, because history will tell you that they're very hard to topple at home. But how they respond to their last defeat, which was quite a considerable defeat against their opponent today.
And as we just we saw that points table, it's close between both these two. We're closing out round 8 of the games in the tournament. And if the winner of this team would put space between them and the rest, because KKR and Hyderabad, you sense, would have that significantly higher net run rate. They're two teams that are firing on more fronts than one. And they have, with due respect, reasonably easier opposition lined up ahead. KKR play Punjab and Delhi in their next 2 games, so they could really run away with it if they continue this form. And SRH play RCB, again a team bottom of the points table, so you will have some space there before a cracking game between SRH and CSK later this week. The challenge with Chennai and Lucknow is what's happened in the last game, Wasim, where Chennai can always plan what they dish out to different opposition. And we saw that with the Gujarat Titans earlier this season. Their spin became redundant. What would they be thinking about this Lucknow team, who just made them look ordinary in the last game? Can we give them a slow turner? Can we give them, a flat wicket? Because it looks like this team covers more bases. They managed to outsmart GT and KKR in the last home game. What should they do today?
No, I think Lucknow has got most bases covered. They've got good spin attack. They can even bring in Siddharth if they need to. They've got good pace attack as well. Mayank Yadav, I'm guessing, could be fit. And Matt Henry is a good inclusion, and they've got good uncapped Indian bowlers as well, and their batting has come good. And now that they have won the toss, I think they hold a little bit of advantage, because in the second half the wicket does get better and their batting has clicked. So I would say CSK has a task cut out in front of them, because they play 3 games at home. And the next game is against SRH.
Yes.
And then Punjab. So, I mean, if they win those 3, they go, really up in the table, and this is their chance. If they miss out, it will be a huge task for them to bounce back.
Yeah, run of 3 games on the trot at home for the Super Kings, who've already won every game so far at the Chepauk. They will play Hyderabad and Punjab coming up, as Wasim Jaffer points out. That's 3 home games on the trot. Then they should go on the road a little bit as well. So this is a huge game. And whether or not we are sensing the stakes of this game in the selection for the Super Kings, I'll come to Mitch McClenaghan, because it's a New Zealand call that's been made. Daryl Mitchell returns and Rachin Ravindra has been left out. Let's assume it's a selection call.
Yeah, I'd imagine it will be a selection call. Just give Rachin a little bit of a break, break that slump, that small slump that he's been on. And Daryl Mitchell is vastly experienced internationally as well. And in these conditions, he's probably more of a top order batter than he is a middle order batter, which is how they used him at the start of the tournament. So I'd almost expect him to open, and like he did in the T20 World Cup in the UAE, where he's very successful. So, it's a big change, a big call, but probably the correct one at this point.
Oh, that's interesting. If you look at Daryl Mitchell, you can see where Mitch comes from here. Because Mitchell, he turned out to be a revelation when he surprised the cricketing world as an opener in the T20 World Cup back in 2021. But as we just look at his best returns in the shortest format, He's got a significant load of his work at the top. At strike rates in the 130, 140s. In this team, though, Tom, Rahane might slot back. We're hearing he's recovered from a calf niggle, which is the reason he was opening. And they've already put Gaikwad then at 3. I wonder whether Daryl Mitchell has room at the top of the order.
Look, I think whether he's 1, 2 or 3 doesn't really matter. But I think that is his position in this Chennai side. I agree with Mitch in that I think the game's moving too quickly for him at 5 and 6. And I think he's better suited to get set as a batter than have an impact, because he has got the ability to clear the boundary, but he can't really do it and he's not alone, because there's very few that can, but he's not one of these players that can do it from the get-go, from ball 1, like a Dube does, for instance. He can hit the first ball out of the ground for 6.
I mean, it's 4 wins out of 7 games for the Super Kings, and they're hardly a team to chop and change. And they have no problem leaving a high-paying player on the bench like they did with Stokes. If it was Devon Conway, there's no way they would have dropped him, is what I'm thinking. So why is it different now? As you sense something, you read between the lines here.
Devon Conway's never given them a reason to drop him.
Well, even if he had, Rachin had 3 really good games and has gone off the boil, which we've established. It's not a Super Kings thing to do.
Yeah, but really good games means what?
First 2 games, 83 of 35, last 5, 50 of 46. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like he shot the lights out and got 100 or an 80 or a match winning. He's made some good contributions, and he's got us, particularly in the first 2 games, got us to sit up in our seat and thought, oh wow, okay, he's going to take the IPL like duck to water here. But he hasn't really gone on and got an impactful innings that's going to shift the influence of the game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's the point. That 2 of 12 was a big one there. That was the game against Delhi where they planned and bowled to him. After that, he's got a start of sorts. But do you sense this is also CSK acknowledging how important this game is?
I think so. And I think he found it hard in the last 4 games. Teams have found a way to bowl to him, and he found it hard to get away. And I think it's a good move. Good move to get Daryl Mitchell. We called out here that it could be a good change to have Mitchell, bringing in Mitchell and have Moeen as well. And I think it's a good call. Rachin hasn't had best of T20 cricket as far as I know. Mitch can correct me, but his first time coming into the IPL, and Mitchell is a lot more experienced in that sense. So I think it's a good call considering where the tournament is heading.
Well, I think your point there is he hasn't got a rich history in T20 cricket. He's a very exciting player. But back to your point about Conway, is that he's got a rich history in T20 cricket. So you may persevere with him because you're drawing it from something in the past, where Rachin is still building that past. He hasn't really got a foundation to his game yet.
All right, let's look at the teams, shall we, and just see how they stack up. We might see Ruturaj Gaikwad back at the top of the order, position that he had relinquished for Ajinkya Rahane, who was carrying a calf niggle. But we'll see if Mitchell and Gaikwad is the preferred pairing. Moeen Ali still very much in that team, and Mustafizur Rahman will play just a couple of games more now before he heads back for international duty. They did play the impact sub card early in the last game when they had to bat first, and Samir Rizvi didn't quite work over there, but that's effectively the same team otherwise. No other... Would they learn from that last game with regards to how they use their impact resources?
I think, again, the impact situation changes from venue to venue, from team to team, to how you use it and what you do with it. So, whether they've learned something or not,
I mean, Moeen Ali looked like he's in decent hitting form.
Yeah. And even though we all thought that he should have bowled more, maybe we might see more of him with the ball, might see 4 overs, particularly in Chennai. KL
Rahul is saying, I won the toss and decided to chase because dew is a big reason. Carry on from there.
No, fair. Great point. When the toss went up, we spoke about how important it's going to be, and that's a big tick in the Lucknow box to be able to chase in Chennai against Super Kings, who chase so well in these conditions.
Unchanged Lucknow Super Giants 11. Just confirm that for you. So unfortunately, we must wait for the return of Mayank Yadav. But Matt Henry seems a worthy inclusion, has some experience as well against at this ground and against a number of the New Zealand batters. He is the preferred overseas seamer. What an innings KL Rahul played. Wait to see how much he has to chase this time. They did the job with the ball, did the Super Giants against the Super Kings in spite of a late flourish by MS Dhoni. And it was a late flourish that took them to a score that the panel thought was actually a good score at half-time. But you almost feel like this is a different Super Kings team when Dube fires and when Dube doesn't. He's become that kind of instrumental figure for the Super Kings. And just as we try and establish what's the best environment for Dube to become the important player and have that impact innings. Strike rate of 157 this season. He's significantly better than the other batters in the middle overs period. The question I think we're trying to raise here is he the kind of batter what kind of partner does he need at the other end? Is he shown that he can take a game on sort of individually on his own, or is he more a player that thrives with support from others?
I think he's got to the point where he's not bothered who's at the other end. I think he's looked confident every time he's come out to bat. He's looked in control of the tempo of the innings. Hasn't been looking for support from the other end at all, and he's really taken the games that we've seen him perform by the scruff of the neck and asked other guys to follow him into battle. So I've liked the leadership I've seen from him at the crease and the confidence. He's even come out first ball. He's happy to try and take the first couple of balls on if they're in his zone, which is what you want to see a player like Dube do.
The one thing about the support that he needs the support from the top order to allow him to come in at the right time. You know, he's come in a couple of times earlier and hasn't had the same impact purely because he's had to sort of manage the game a little bit before he can play his natural game. So the support he needs is the top order getting to the 10th over with a strong foundation. Then he can go out there and do his thing.
Yeah, you don't want Dube to come in really early and everything is dependent on him to give that momentum to the innings. I think that's what Chennai's batting has been looking like.
I know that you all saw merit in the Ravindra Jadeja at 4 move in the last game, but did that in any way upset, say, Dube's plan? Will we see that happen today with Daryl Mitchell back in the side as well? Are we going to see that continuing, and whether that has any impact on perhaps the tempo that Dube goes at?
No, I think Dube might come in early because he's the only left-hander in the top 4. So he should be slotted in at number 4 no matter what. He shouldn't be, Ravindra Jadeja shouldn't be coming before Dube.
Yeah, so then that's a change they'd have to make from the last game.
It could be any 3 of those guys, couldn't it? It could be Moeen Ali, who takes down spin as well if they want to hold him back a little bit longer. Could be any of them, to be honest. Just depending, like Tom alluded to, if they get off to a good start and they get out of that power play, and Lucknow's going to rely on Bishnoi and Kunal now. They haven't played Siddharth, they haven't played Gautam, so they've only got the 2 spinners in what looks like spin-friendly conditions. That if they come on straight away, you just put them out there immediately.
Was that an unfortunate wicket in the last game, or Lucknow should be credited for planning well against him, bringing on Stoinis, and maybe a plan that worked? And could we possibly see that again?
Well, I'd like to see Stoinis bowl in that side. I think Lucknow are a better side when he's playing both the batting and bowling role. And whether it was a tactical decision prior to the game or not, we'll never know, but it certainly is a good matchup. You're certainly better off bowling Stoinis to Dube than a spinner when he first comes in. And Stoinis has actually got a deceptive bouncer as well.
Yep.
So, it sort of creates that little bit of uncertainty around a player, and he's not going to deliver it in an obvious way, which we've seen in the first part of the IPL, where every team seemed to line Dube up with a short ball. Now that we've got 2 bouncers, well, let's bomb him early in his innings, and he's got away to starts because of that.
Yeah, these numbers that we're seeing on screen as well. It's been a very good return against pace with an average of 44 and a strike rate of 152. It's even better against spin. But if you're thinking as an opposition team, if Dube is the difference between CSK getting a good score like 170 out in the last game and a great score like 200, which is the difference often, we just look at how he stacks up against pace and spin when he's just at the crease. First 10 balls, 7 dismissals and against pace, and just 2 against spin. He has found a way to navigate it, the overall numbers would suggest. But if you're making a call on whether Dube's game is sort of evolving and how you see Lucknow planning against him today, are those numbers concerning in any way?
It is to a degree. I think they won't give him spin for sure at the start. And I think they'll bowl probably the shorter balls outside his line and not closer.
What would you work with him on ahead of this game then? Looking at his dismissal in the last, as a batting coach, I'm sure it's a conversation you'd love to have if this is how the opposition is planning to get to?
Well, I think in back of his mind, he'll be ready that they're going to bowl bouncer. But the good thing to do is to be not ready for it and just react. Otherwise, if you're waiting for it, then the short ball comes and you're only thinking about pulling the ball. He could have played this ball here as well. So having a blank mind, I think, is very, very vital as a batsman.
How do you achieve
the other point to that is it may not be a bouncer, and if he's thinking of the bouncer, he's totally out of position to play the half volley that he should absolutely belt through covers or down the ground.
Yes.
How do you make a player have a blank mind? Sorry, I couldn't frame that question better, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Mental cues. It's not the technical side of it. It's more the mental skills around, clearing your head, having cues to concentrate on the one thing and one thing only, and that is the bowler running in and
Watching the ball.
having a cue. And every batter has a different cue.
Yeah.
It may well be just when he's 2 or 3 metres before he hits the crease, you lock in and say, watch the ball.
Does your partner play a role at all? Sort of just to have conversations with you while the game's on and maybe anticipate.
I think he can help you, but I think end of the day, it's you. What goes in your head, that's more important than what he's telling you.
Would CSK, they're not a team necessarily known to overanalyze or react, but they would have seen how easily Lucknow chased what we thought again was a good score, and now they put in the position again. Would there be a change in approach today at the Chepauk because of how easily Lucknow chased in the last game at Lucknow?
I think they'll identify that early wickets are going to be crucial because Quinton de Kock showed he's slowly coming back into form. KL Rahul is not going away, quality player at the top, so they'll identify with that new ball, it's critical that they get 2, if not 3 in the power play.
Yeah, KL, this is going to be exciting, isn't it? Because Chahar doesn't have a great record against KL at the top of the order. I think he takes him down, strikes at plus 160. So it's going to be fascinating.
Could we, I know it's a nice point you brought up because it was so easy for Rahul in the last game and he knows that record he has. I'm just trying to think for a team that has usually developed this reputation, the Super Kings, of not being driven by matchups and data necessarily, whether today is the day that they will have to change it up. We might see something very different from the usual template of CSK for this opposition.
Yeah, I mean, it could be today, but I don't think they will. I think they're a side that likes to back their players and the skill of their players. I can't imagine they're going to change that now. But then it comes down to what does Deepak Chahar actually do to get ahead of him and try and find a way to get ahead of KL. And is it an early bouncer or is it early Yorker or something that he's not expecting?
You're saying not bowling Deepak Chahar with the new ball, is it?
Possibly. I mean, if we can see something different from them.
Then your point effective as well.
Yeah, your point to Wasim around what would you do as a batting coach for Dube, it's equally valid, if not more valid, sitting Chahar down with the bowling coach saying, okay, well, this is the situation. What is your approach to KL Rahul today? How are we going to get him out early? If he looks to go after you, what is your response? Is it going to go? You're going to go to that slower ball. You're going to go to your bouncer and have that discussion. So you play out before game his options, so he's well equipped for when KL does come out of the blocks.
When guys have a good read on you, it's like having the conversation. How do you flip the script?
Yeah,
exactly what you're saying. Like, what do you think? Why do you think KL gets on top of you? What do you think you can? What do you think he's expecting you to bowl? Because quite often, someone like KL will expect Deepak Chahar to bowl a certain delivery. Well, can we bowl something completely the opposite? And all of a sudden he goes, well, this is different. Now I've got to watch the ball a little bit more, and then your stock balls that you used to bowl to him, it's become more effective.
Yeah, is he also a player who's just more ready to take bowling on, which makes him exactly the dangerous player that KL Rahul made a reputation of? Just as we look at how he's gone in the power play this season, the first 4 games, this is the KL Rahul of, where we bring in conversations on strike rate, etc. Keep in mind the surfaces that, of course, Lucknow played. In the last 3 games, liberated almost. No fear of the world, which makes him perhaps one of the most dangerous batters in the tournament.
I think so, yeah. I think it frees him up. And then more importantly, he went ahead and got those 80-odd runs. It wasn't just in the power play. Then he carried the innings, which was good to see. And obviously, he'll be encouraged to do that with the World Cup coming on as well.
Yeah, getting an announcement in a few days' time. We can't wait. For now, let's focus on how good Lucknow spinners can be, because they could make or break the game here in the first innings. CSK, they managed to keep KKR to a below par score, which they chased once Dube did come into play at the Chepauk in the last game. And Krunal Pandya and Ravi Bishnoi do not mind an outing at the Chepauk. Economy between 6.5 and 7.5 for both, and they've done a steady enough job. You see them going well today, Wasim?
Yeah, I think so. I think bowling in the first half will help them. It won't have much of a due. So I think those two guys will come in handy, especially Bishnoi, because he hasn't got a lot of good games under his belt. And like I said, the World Cup is on the mind, so he won't mind a good outing. Kunal has done well, but yeah, that matchup against Dube will be very crucial. So if Dube is there, then you won't see Kunal bowling his 4 overs. So
yeah. Well, they've only gone in with the 2 spinners today, which
Yes.
I find surprising. I mean, we spoke in the pre-show that maybe Siddharth would come in, and then you saw in the impact list, you saw Gautam, who's a right-arm off spinner, isn't he?
Yep.
So, and he's a very good spinner as well. He's played for Chennai and knows conditions well. So he, with the amount of left-handers that they've got in their side, particularly in the middle order, I'm surprised that someone like him isn't playing.
It's a good point. Normally, I don't know if they have a comfort about using Siddharth if they are bowling second at times, and whether not as much bowling first, or whether the Stoinis bowling form is just told them that's enough bowling. Just look at the team one more time. We have seen M. Siddharth play. That could be a lot of spin, but it works when you've got quality spinners, which they do. Thoughts on whether they could have boosted their bowling anymore?
Yeah, I just think with the CSK lineup with the left-handers, they can't play another left-arm spinner because you're playing into their hands regardless of the conditions. Gotham's a good point, but I don't see him forcing his way into that side. What I see is Pandya being used early, where there's 3 top-order right-handers.
Yep.
So you might see him bowling the power play. So they'll try to get some mileage out of him whilst the right-handers are there, and Bishnoi coming into the middle overs where the left-handers suddenly come into play.
Plus, Cornell's been bowling well, as the previous graphic said. So they're probably very confident in how he's started to bowl. His variations have been good. Pace change has been outstanding. So that's a big positive for them.
Yeah, but just bring that up again. We didn't need to wait and see what Lucknow would do with their impact sub in the last game, because they've just finished the chase easily. But are we effectively then just looking as an extra batting resource in Padikkal should things go according to plan?
possibly. I mean, Padikkal or Arshin, they padded Arshin up in the last game. He was ready to go. So he could be that guy. If everything goes well, you could see K. Gautam and come in as a hitter in the end.
Yeah.
That is a possibility as well.
That's the one I see.
Gautam at the end?
Yeah, I see that more. Padikkal's desperately out of form.
Yep.
You don't want to sort of jump in.
Yeah.
If he comes into the side, he's got a bat at 3. And I think that's a backward step.
Okay.
All I would say is probably Arshin coming in at number 3. That's what if they lose early wicket, then I see Arshin coming at number 3.
Okay, so we'll see how that
Huda
depends.
drops down.
I think they'll have a look at how they start and take that call there. CSK though, would there be any revisiting of that plan? I know I've asked this before, but let's predict that too. Whether Rizvi will come in if they lose 4 or 5 before. Clearly MS Dhoni is not going to come in ahead of before say 10, 12 balls. We've heard from the management there as well, the reasoning behind it and how they think that's is most effective, which means that left-hand side of the column needs to make sure they bat at least till the 17th over. Otherwise, you're going to have Mr. Rizvi back in. Or is there a better way to use that if that's the way you want to go?
We spoke about it the other night that Chennai is very fortunate that they don't need that extra bowler to come in.
After the last game, do they not?
I mean, the surface changed, Oh, yes, Shadow Thakur could come in and do a good job, but we've got so many options. We could see Dube bowl. Darryl Mitchell was warming up with the ball, so maybe he's the other option. And you got Mo and Ali.
That's what
now.
I'm saying. Like maybe we're going to see something different from them today. I don't know why I'm just.
Shardul bowled
well
against Mumbai as well.
Yeah.
So if they obviously they could sub out Ajinkya Rahane and get Shardul to bat at number 8.
Okay.
If at all,
All the options discovered, matchups covered, and we can't wait for this game to start. So let's head into the impact zone. Right, reminding everyone now, you know the drill. 3 players for each expert, batter, bowler and a wild card. Impact points as per ESPN for Smart Stats. And the expert with the highest points tally gets 3 points in their season tally. Yesterday's winner. Can't remember who it was. Would the winner please raise their hand? Oh, come on. I expected something a little more.
That's a little bit of humility.
Oh, wow. Wow, you're learning from Tom. Yeah. All right, excellent. In which case, Wasim Jaffer,
Am I the
think
first one?
You can go first today on having finished third yesterday. Tom, are you pleased with that?
I'm thrilled.
Thank you very much, Tom.
I'm going to go Dube.
All right, so we're picking batters here. Dube for Wasim Jaffer.
So we're going
I will
batters.
go-
Yes.
So you won yesterday, so you don't go next.
Oh, okay. Sure. Whatever.
Well, that's how it works,
Oh,
isn't
you go, mate.
it? Is that how it works, Chairman?
I'd like to carry on with the order.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
Poran.
Nicholas Puran for Mitch. I think you've got plenty of good options, Tom.
I'll go KL Rahul.
KL Rahul for Tom Moody. What I will do is, on account of that, I will let you start the next pick first and let Mitch go first with the wild card. So, Tom.
I will go with... Oh dear. Okay, I want to go with Mohsin Khan.
Mohsin Khan for Tom Moody. Wasim.
I'm going to go Stoinis.
Stoinis, the bowler. Okay, Wasim's playing a
If he's
different
going
game
that,
here.
then I'll go Mo and Ali, the bowler.
Okay, naughty boys, both of you. Stoinis and Moeen as bowlers. What can we do for bowlers? We've just done a run order on that. It will be out in the next few days. Right. And finally, Mitch McClenaghan, your wild card.
Well, it probably doesn't make any difference then, does it? I'm going to go Patirana.
Matisha Patirana. All right.
I'll go for the Fizz.
Mustafizur Rahman. And Wasim.
I'm going to go Ruturaj.
Ruturaj Gaikwad. Well, it is Rahane and Gaikwad opening with Mitchell at 3. Just a quick reaction on that. Fair enough? Or?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, Mitchell stays at 3.
I thought Gaikwad was doing really well at 3, but back to his familiar position, I guess.
And you know what comes next, the most important part of the day. So I am going to back CSK to do the job here. So Daryl Mitchell on his return. Let's see how he goes. You've already taken Moeen Ali, right? Okay. So my bowler today
Jadeja.
is going to be Jadeja. Thank you, Wasim. And guess who I'm going to take as my wild card? M.S. Dhoni.
Okay.
About time someone puts him there and puts him in the impact zone. Dhoni in the impact zone. Thank you very much to Wasim Jaffer, Mitch McClenaghan, Tom Moody. Not a reaction from them as I picked Dhoni. It was so outrageous that I need to ask them their outrageous picks. First inning score and outrageous pick, Wasim Jaffer.
First inning score 166.
166 and then outrageous pick, Wasim.
Matt Henry to take 2 wickets.
Henry to take. I don't mind taking Henry now.
Three's the number. He's a specialist bowler.
Or you can say he's going to
It's
get...
like your call yesterday was...
Two
Are you going to
batters
say
now.
2 wickets in his opening spell? I will allow that.
Yeah.
Okay. Opening spell, 2 wickets. You two bullies. Now your turn, Mitch.
I will go 175 and Bishnoi to get Dube and Mo and Ali out.
Very good. Bishnoi to get Dube and Moeen. Tom.
I'm going to say... what was your score?
175 for...
Okay, I'll go for 161.
Very well.
And I'll go KL Rahul to get 70 or more.
Okay, like you did last time. Very well. Thank you very much to Tom Moody. That is a second innings outrageous pick, though, in case you'd like to give me one for this one.
Yeah, I'll keep that one for the second innings then. Do we have second innings ones?
Yep.
Okay, I'll keep that for the second innings. I quite like that one, though. And this one I'm going to go with...
Your 12 or less balls is brewing. It's cooking right
yeah, it is. It is. I'm just trying to think of who that's going to
It's
be.
got to go back to 10.
I'm going to say
Yeah.
that Dube is not going to get any more than 12 runs.
That is outrageous.
something to do with 12 always, but I'll take that. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Can I
It's-
change
It's
mine?
2 hits.
You want to change yours? What is the?
It's got to be more than 12,
I'm
so if
going
it's
to
2
ask
sixes.
Ajinkya Rahane will get a 50 instead of 2 wickets.
Ajinkya to get a 50 as against Henry's 2 wickets. Yeah, I think that's more outrageous. So if you raise
Because
the
he's
stake-
watched 4 balls of Henry bowl.
and I thought he bowled very well. I want to watch. I want to watch. I want to watch one or
Can't
two.
change
Your
it.
top order batter can't be
Chairman,
50. It's got to be
let the
70,
chairman
like I
decide.
said with KL
You know what's going to
Rahul.
happen?
He's
Okay,
watching him bowl at the
very well.
moment. He hasn't looked threatening
Very
at
well.
all.
I'll tell you what. if Henry can get Rahane in this over, it'll be so much
Oh,
fun.
my
Yeah.
word.
So
that'd
I'm
be
going to
hilarious.
take both your predictions,
Okay.
and then whichever one comes true, I will ignore that one, and we'll take the other one. All right, we'll see where the game stands. I will deliberate and think about this, and come back to you with my verdict at half time on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Download the mobile app if you haven't already. It's got the fastest scores and so much more. That is how Wasim Jaffer made a judgment call, checking the scores on the fast ESPN Cricket for mobile app, that Rahane might get 50 today. So we shall see you at the end of the CSK innings.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.